Hello, welcome to the second part of the midterm review. This is question number 6, inclusion exclusion. An insurance agent offers his clients auto insurance, homeowners, and renters. The purchase of homeowners insurance and the purchase of renters insurance are mutually exclusive, meaning that the intersection is empty. No one has both of those. And then we have a list here. The profile of the agent's clients is as follows: 17% have none of the above. 64% have auto, twice as many have homeowners as renters, 35% have two of these three products, 11% have homeowners but not auto. Calculate the percentage that have both auto and renters. So, because the homeowners and renters is mutually exclusive, that overlap is 0. So we also know that nobody has all three. If nobody has homeowners and renters, no one could possibly have all three. So those are both going to be zeros here. So we know that the overall intersection here of auto, homeowners, and renters is going to be 0, as well as homeowners and renters is also going to be 0. Now, 17 had none of the above, so 100 minus 17 leaves 83 having at least one. So 83 have at least one. Now the auto was 64, and twice as many have homeowners than twice as many have homeowners insurance as have renters. So homeowners is 2R. The size of R is 2 times this. Size of H is 2 times the size of R. So the right hand side, we have So on the right hand side, we have that 35% of the clients have two of the three. So the only way that could happen, since homeowners and renters are mutually exclusive, is that 35 has to come from auto and renters and auto and homeowners. So those two total to 35. So combining, we get 64 minus 35 is 29. 2R plus R is 3R. Subtracting 29 is 54. Dividing by 3, we get that the number with renters insurance is 18. So 18 have renters insurance. Now, what's the question asking for? They want to know both auto and renters insurance. So we were told that 11% of the clients have homeowners insurance but not auto insurance. So that's going to be homeowners minus the overlap of auto and homeowners. So H minus A intersect H. So that's 11. So going back to the general formula and knowing that H intersected R, A intersect H intersect R is 0, we can isolate the H minus AH, and we know that that's 11. And then we can figure out A intersect R. We know that A was 64 and R was 18, and so we can solve for A intersect R. 64 plus 18 is 82, plus 11 is 93. 83 minus 93 is negative 10, so AR equals 10. So it's 10 people, 10%, I should say. Everything was in percentage here. It was 10% have both auto and renters insurance. Now, this method was basically using the formula. I'm going to go down to the bottom here where I have an alternate method using the Venn diagrams. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. Let me zoom out a little bit here. All right, so we know that homeowners and renters were mutually exclusive. So we can put zeros sorry. Just trying to get this to all fit. Sorry about that. Just zoom out a little bit here. Okay. So we know that homeowners and renters mutually exclusive. So zeros in the triple intersection and 0 in the homeowners and renters. 11% have homeowners but not auto. So the only part left there is that's just homeowners alone is 11. So that has to be 11. Now, 35% of the clients have 2 of the 3. Now, again, that could be more there, but we have these zeros lined in here. So the only slots left that have 2 overlapping of 2 sets are the A and H portion and the A and R portion. So those add up to 35. So I'm going to call them Y and 35 minus Y. So that 35 is entirely inside the A circle. So that adds up to 64. 64 minus 35 is 29. So there are 29 that have just auto. Now we know that homeowners was double the renters. So if we call the number that have renters insurance X, then H would be 2X. 17 had none of the above. Now the grand total of all this has to be 100%. So that's the 64 plus 11 plus Z plus 17 has to equal 100, or writing that a little bit slower, each section, 29, 35 minus Y, Y, 11, Z, 17, that has to add up to 100%. The Y's are going to cancel out here, and we'll get Z. So the Y's cancel out. We have the 64 from the A, the 11, the 17, and the Z. 64 and 11 is 75. 75 plus 17 gives us 92, so Z has to be 8. So Z is 8. That was renters alone, but we want both auto and renters, so we want Y. Z is 8. We want to find Y. Okay, so plugging that 8 in, we know that the renter circle, we're calling that X, so that is Y plus 8. The homeowners, that was double. That was 2X. So we know that if we double the amount of those that have renters insurance, if we double 2 times Y plus 8, that will give us H, which is 35 minus Y plus 11. Remember, number that have homeowners insurance was double the number of renters. So it's 2 times Y plus 8. So we can solve for Y in this equation. Distribute through. We get 2Y plus 16 equals 35 plus 11, 46 minus Y. Add the Y over. 3Y is equal to 30, and Y is 10. So it was 10%. Again, you're welcome to use any method. You can mix and match, whatever it takes. Any approach is fine. So either way, in number 6, we ended up with 10%. All right, number 7. Now, number 7 looks messy because there are seemingly 4 categories, but we can reduce it back to 3. Of 100 viewers here, 34 watch CBS, 15 NBC, 10 ABC, 7 in the overlap CBS, NBC, 6 in the overlap of CBS and ABC, 5 in NBC and ABC, 4 watched all 3 of those, 18 watched HGTV and nothing else. So because it's isolated like that for this 4th network of 18, we can deal with that separately and not have to do the full-on formula for the union of 4 sets. We can reduce it down to 3. And the question is asking how many of the 100 did not watch any of the 4 channels? None of the above. So again, as we said, HGTV, it's 18 with no other overlap, so we can deal with that and not have to do the full-on four-set situation. I'm not gonna test you on that situation. Um, it'll be up to three sets. So we have A for ABC, N for NBC, and C for CBS. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We know that 10 watched ABC, 15 watched NBC, 34 watched CBS. ABC and NBC was 5. ABC and CBS was 6. NBC and CBS was 7. And then all three of those was 4. So totaling that and subtracting, we end up with 45. So we end up with 45 people watched at least one of those three networks, and 18 watched HGTV and nothing else. So how many watched none of the above? 100 minus those who watched at least one of the first three, which was 45, minus the 18 from HGTV, leaves us with 37. 37 watched none of the above. All right, number 8. Again, we'll do this one two different ways: formula and then diagram. This year, a medical insurance policyholder has probability 0.70 of having no emergency room visits, 0.85 of no hospital stays, and 0.61 of neither. Calculate the probability that the policyholder has at least one emergency room visit and at least one hospital stay. So basically, you want both hospital visit, both emergency room visit and hospital stay. So using inclusion exclusion here, we have the probability of E complement union H complement is probability E complement plus probability H complement minus the probability of the intersection. E complement means not going to the emergency room. H complement not having a hospital stay. So the probability of not having an emergency room visit was 0.70. Not having a hospital stay was 0.85. And having neither was 61. So totaling that up and subtracting, we get 94%. So what does that 0.94 tell us? That's the probability of either missing the emergency room visit category or missing the hospital stay category, missing at least one. The complement of that the complement of that is both. The complement of E's complement union H complement goes back to E and H. So E complement union H complement is missing at least one of E H. The complement of that is having both, yes to both E and H. So 1 minus 0.94 is 0.06, and that's the probability of both emergency room visit and hospital stay. So again, this is doing it directly with the formula. We'll take a look at a diagram. I think the diagram may take a little bit longer, but I think this method is easier. But again, you can use either method. You can mix and match. So what do we have here? We have 61% have neither an emergency room visit nor a hospital stay. So that's 61% outside the circles. we have 70% have no emergency room visits. So no emergency room visits means that you're either in the you're outside the E circle. So you're either in the Z portion or you're in the 0.61 outside both. So we know that the probability of E complement in the diagram is Z plus 0.61. But we're told in the problem that the probability of no emergency room visits is 70. So 70 is equal to Z plus 0.61, leaving us with 0.09 for Z. And then we do the same thing for the next part. We know that there's an 85% chance of no hospital stay. No hospital stay means outside the H circle. Outside the H circle is X and 0.61. So X plus 0.61 is 85, and that gives us the 24. And so then we can figure out how much is left for Y. The grand total of everything has to be 100% or one whole. X plus Y plus Z plus 61 has to equal one whole. X plus Y plus Z is 39. We know X plus Z is 33. And that leaves us with 06 for Y. So the final answer is 0.06. All right, we'll break this up again here, part 3, starting from number 9.